Your journey can only begin when the self-doubts stop. The first step is harnessing your bravery within. Believing in you is your host, John Williams.
Hello and good day to you all. My name is Sean, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to another Hodge episode of Bravery Within. Today, I thought it would be kind of neat. I've had some people ask me about how I come up with a name, kind of what my thoughts and premises is behind the whole show, and I thought today I would take a few minutes here to explain to you what basically Bravery Within means, what it means to me, what I'm hoping to convey. And hopefully this will also give you a little bit of strength and maybe direction there to try to help you a little bit for some of the folks that are struggling out there a little bit. I know personally what it's like to struggle, what it's like to go through hard times. And that's why basically I've started this podcast, because I wanted to talk to folks out there and maybe give them, some ideas or come up with a different way of looking at something, maybe so that way they can avoid some of the pitfalls and some of the hardships that I have gone through. I don't know if it is or not. So far, I've been getting a pretty good response from folks there saying that it is going that way. So I thought I would give you guys a little bit of an idea of what I think this podcast means and what I'm hoping that you're getting out of it. So, Hodgepodge episode number 10 today is You're Stronger Than You Give Yourself Credit For. We go through life constantly getting beat up. There's people saying bad things. They're giving you dirty looks. They may do that stupid sigh or whatever it is. It's not, that just basically says they're just not happy with you. I've experienced that, in all 49 years of my life. But one thing that I'm learning on is I'm learning to just kind of let that stuff roll off my back and trying to look at things a little bit different. So after, which I hate to say this again, but after my divorce, I had to go back to the drawing board and decide, okay, Sean, who are you? What makes you you? What makes you unique? What can we do to say to the world, Sean is here, Sean, you should listen to Sean. Okay, that's going a bit far, but guess what? I'm kind of out there, I admit it, I'm an author, so I'm allowed to dream a little bit. But what I wanted to basically get through to everybody today is everybody, whether you know it or not, and it took me a lot of years to figure this one out myself, and I'm hoping it doesn't take other folks out there as long to figure it out, but we all have that incredible potential of power and positivity that's locked up inside us. As we go through life, there's so much negativity, there's so much hatred and anger and judgment and everything else that unfortunately our species is known for. And trying to combat all of that is very difficult. I hear every day. I listen to people and stuff there how they're struggling trying to get through the day, problems that have cropped up. What are they going to do here? What are they going to do there? How can they make things better? And so what I did is I kind of tried to answer those questions. It may be in a very, very broad way, but I wanted to try to answer some of those questions and give them a little bit of hope with this episode while explaining to you what I think my series is and the direction that I'm going with it. So, but like I said before, it took me years to figure out how to basically reverse a lot of the mental damage, basically being torn down all the time. My sister and I were constantly just basically browbeaten down. It was very difficult to try to get through life. We helped each other out getting through there. But unfortunately, all that mental, all that negativity and everything else does start to play, a key role into who you are, what you say, what you do, how you conduct your life. And it takes a long time to reverse that damage. I don't think you ever probably fully get rid of it. I would say myself, I'm probably 80% reversed, reprogrammed, however you want to basically say it. I've worked through a lot of my traumas. I've worked through a lot of my negativity. It's taken a long time to get to this point. And like I said, I'm 49 years old. That's a lot of years to go through and basically fix or switch around, or however you want to basically word it. To get yourself back to a positive spot. And I'd like to think, of course, we all have our negative days. We all make negative comments once in a while. It just depends on the time of day. If you run into a lot of problems at work or a lot of problems at home, or, this or that pops up, or whatever it is, there's always room for negativity that creeps in. But the trick is that I'm learning is to not get stuck in the negativity. It is so simple to stay there and just say, oh, well, you know what? This whole world, it's against me. Every time I make a decision, it's the wrong one. Every time I try to go somewhere and do something, it just doesn't work out. Or I try to buy this and it's not the right item, so I got to return it. And there's so many opportunities basically to say, you know what? I'm done. I'm just going to sit here and I'm not going to worry about it anymore and just hope for the best that it's going to work out. Well, I suppose you can do that, and honestly, I did that for years. It took me a long time to realize, you know what, that's kind of like sticking your head in the sand and hoping things are going to change. Well, they don't. You have to go through and make the changes yourself. A lot of the changes are not easy, they're difficult, but there are some easier ones, and there's some smaller ones that you can do to start making changes in your life to basically put yourself on the right track and not always going down that dark alley, but you can put yourself on the right road to success, and away you go. And I learned a long time ago that relying on somebody else for your happiness or relying on them to fix you doesn't really work. I waited for years and years and years. I've never really had anybody there to help build me up and take care of me. I've had to do that on my own. So it took a long time to figure out, okay, well, guess what? If I got to do this on my own, then I've got to make some changes to when I look in that mirror and the man that's looking back at me, I can be happy with. So after spending, it took me years to reverse the mental damage that was done to me. And I think, mental hurt is a lot worse than physical hurt. So repairing the mental damage has been a very, very long road. But I'd like to think that I'm virtually there. I'd like to think that things are getting better. And even if they're not, I'm trying to look at things with a more positive outlook as much as I possibly can. I try not to let work get to me. I try not to let, if there's problems that all of a sudden pop up, I'm just trying to always find ways of looking at the glass half full instead of the glass half empty. And it's so simple and so easy and far less effort to get stuck in that negativity and just say, you know what, I'm done. I'm checked out. I'm going to sit here in this chair with my arms crossed and act like I'm 2 years old and just throw a fit. And it's very simple to get stuck in that way of doing things and never getting out. That negativity and stuff there starts to become kind of like an old leather jacket where, it's broken in, it feels comfortable. When you put it on, it's just nice. And that kind of negativity and stuff will actually start to feel the same way. It'll actually start to kind of feel like that coat where you're comfortable. So you run to that spot all the time to basically feel safe or happy, or just sometimes you just do it because you're procrastinating and you just don't want to either make a decision, you don't want to move on, you don't want to, whatever it is. You would rather live in the past than try to write a good future. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy to write the future. I'm not saying it's easy to make those decisions. I'm not saying it's easy to move on. The trick is to actually try and actually move forward with all of this. And it took me a long time to figure that one out. I got to admit, I was stuck for years, hating everyone, hating everything. It just seems like every time I took one step forward, I took 6 steps back. It was just like, this, you can't get anywhere for this way. So at some point, I just ended up just giving up because I'd had enough. But I learned, it took time, but I learned that, okay, that's not the answer. I've got to, at some point, pick myself back up and get moving. And like I said, I haven't had somebody there that has stood side by side with me and helped build me up instead of tearing me down. I haven't had a relationship like that. I'm 49 years old. I'm still waiting for that to come along. But when you realize somebody like me that has more time behind them than they have in front of them anymore, you can't rely on somebody else to make that happiness for you. You can't expect somebody to be there and say, okay, come on, give me your hands and let's go. Sometimes it works. I guess it works in Disney movies, works very well in Disney movies. They're lucky. Unfortunately, out here in the real world, we just don't have that option. I've always, in any relationship I've been in, with the family that I have, the friends that I have, I do everything in my power to make sure I build them up and support them and be there for them. I want to make sure that, basically, I want them to see how I want the world to be. And I know that's looking at it through rose-colored glasses. It's never going to be that way. There's just too much negativity. There's just too much going against you. But what I try to do is, either in my house or in my own little corner of the world, I try to basically be the person that I'm hoping that the world could be someday. It's not easy. I have down days too. I mean, I have all kinds of things that just start to grate on your nerves, or, like my own weight loss journey. There are times that even I get kind of like, okay, it's still here. What am I doing? I know I'm down 200 pounds, but it's like, my goodness, it's just like, will this stuff just go away? And unfortunately don't. And problems are the same way. So when you start putting things off, it's just easy for them to pile up, and at some point they just get to be overwhelming and get to be too much. So after figuring all that out and getting into my own head and saying, Sean, okay, we need to make some changes here, buddy. You can't sit here in limbo land and Negativeville world and live here forever. I guess you could. I mean, realistically, you could. But I wanted to be able to be there for my family, be there for my friends, to build them up, share in their victories, share in their tragedies, and just try to be the man that they're kind of hoping that I would be. And when you break it down, to be the man that I know I can be, to be better all the time, to try to always grow, try to always learn. I don't have all this figured out. Like I've told you guys in many podcasts, I'm a work in progress. I have made my fair share of mistakes. I have made my fair share of bad choices. That is just the way the world works. I mean, I have done my fair share of screwing up. I'm not going to lie to you guys about this. But I always try to look as I am not going to be a victim. I am going to be a survivor. I am going to continue to push on, and I am going to win one way or another. Same way with my weight loss. One way or another, I'm going to get across that finish line, and I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be joyful, and it's going to take a while. I know I'm not going to get there overnight, and it's driving me nuts at times. It's kind of like I look in the mirror and I still go, ugh. It's like, okay, we still have a long ways to go, which is the wrong way to look at it. I should be looking at it as what I have accomplished and how far I have come. And like I said, I am still a work in progress, and I'm working on this myself. But what I have learned through all of that is I'm stronger than I thought I could ever be. After hearing, 3 decades, almost 4 decades of just somebody just tearing you down and beating you up and saying you're worthless and you're scum and you're a worthless father and wish you'd have never been born and you're not a man. All of that stuff gets to you. I don't care who you are. It's going to get to you at some point. So I have just moved on. I've gotten rid of that negativity out of my life, and I'm trying to be here for my son and my family and be the best man that I can. And to do that, I can't stay in that negative zone. I can't stay in that pity potty and say, oh, well, the world's against me. I have to go out and make a difference. It may not be much of a difference, and I may only the people around me may see the differences that I'm making. But you know what? I am trying my very, very best instead of just getting stagnant and just not going anywhere. So I try to do my very best to lead by example. It's not hard, but once people start realizing that you can be trusted and you're walking the walk and talking the talk, that will go a long ways. People will start to want to be around you. So some of the things that I have learned the hard way, in case you're interested in getting started and turning things around, the first thing that I learned was be who you are and who you are meant to be. Be a force to be reckoned with. Don't change or sacrifice who you are to fit in or to make new people happy. The moment you start making changes like that and being, like I've said before, you put on a different face for this friend and a different face for this friend and a different face for this family member, you start basically losing who you are. You are unique, you are you, and you can only be you. That's why you can't compare yourself to, celebrities. You can't compare yourself to the next door neighbor. That's just not going to work. You're unique, and the world needs you as you. That's just what it comes down to. That's why you were created, is you were you. And I've said before, when there had to be a reason why my steering wheel turned the last second and didn't allow me to commit suicide. This must be one of the reasons why, is to talk to you. You guys are all my extended family. I want nothing but the best from you, or for you, not from you, but best for you, because you deserve it. It's amazing. You guys, you go to work every day, you pay your bills, you come home, you take care of things, you clean house, you do laundry, and blah, 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 the normal adult things, That was one of the things that when I kept saying, hey, I want to be an adult, I want to be a grown-up, I want to stay up late. Well, what they should have said is, well, here's all the reasons and everything that you're going to have to go through to be an adult. It's utterly amazing that, oh, well, we forgot about that part. I guess maybe we should have told you. Maybe that should have been in the small print on the I want to be an adult paperwork. But they never tell you that there. There's a lot of, yes, you have a lot of freedoms. You can choose. You can live how you want to. You can eat what you want. You can drink what you want. Yeah, there's a lot of freedoms. I'm not arguing that point. And do I want to give them up? Oh, heck no. I want to make sure that I've got as many as I can, as long as they don't infringe on somebody else's rights and freedoms. But it comes down to where there's so much things that there's, okay, let me try this again. There's so many things out there that are going to try to hold you back, keep you back, hold you down. I mean, there's so many negative things. So by being brighter, by being more positive, by looking at the glass half full, you're going to be who you're meant to be and who you are. You're going to brighten everybody around you. And believe it or not, you will actually push negativity and people away from you, because it's just like, you're kind of like the sun, you're overwhelming. I'm not saying you have to be, when you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning like I do to go to work, you have to be bright and cheery and everything. Let me tell you, it takes me a couple hours to get things rolling and getting cheery and everything else at that time of the morning. Or even when I wake up at, when my puppy lets me sleep in until 6:30 on the weekends, which, when you get up at 4, that kind of is sleeping in, but she doesn't let me go very long there, so it still takes time to put that face on. So just be who you are. That's all I can say. I think that's the best thing that you can do. The next thing that I learned that really, really helped me move on was I actually started to go and help others. This world needs more people to start helping it, continue, move on, donate charities, donate food, clothes, your time. The animal shelters always need help. I've done lots of donations, lots of time over the years, and that really, really does actually help you. It helps your positivity. It helps your self-worth. Basically everything in there. You'd be surprised on how much negativity will leave you when you're actually helping somebody. I've stopped along the road to help people when they're broke down. I've helped people at convenience stores. You name it, I've helped them all. There's been some people that just weren't very nice after helping them, but you know what? I know I did, and that's a win in my column, even though they may not like me. They may not be happy or anything like that there, but it's a win in the column for me. So, I'm happy with it. One of the things that I had to, this one was hard. This was really hard for me, let's be honest, especially after the divorce. Stop judging everyone and everything. That, to me, that was brutal. Coming out of the divorce, I didn't have any positive things to say. Everything was dark. I walked around in a fog the whole time. It rained or snowed or whatever it was, so you feel down and out. That's how I felt. And all I did was judge people. I wasn't, I was like, ugh, what are you? And then I would see something that was wrong with them, and in my head, I'd never say it. It was all hidden in my head. But the conversations that I had in my head, it was just as crazy as what I'm talking to you guys about now. I would fight myself and say, oh wow, that this person was this or this person was that, or what's wrong with them, or because I was so upset with what happened to me, and it was like it was another failure. And it was like, how many failures do you have to go through in your lifetime before something starts going right? And that was my mentality. So it was years before I finally quit hating everyone and hating everything and stopped judging them. People are who they are, whether you like it or not. That's who they are. Most of them you cannot change, and I wouldn't waste your time and your energy and your positivity on trying to change them. If there's people that have come to you and ask for help, those are the ones that you want to focus on, because their minds are already open to new ideas and new ways of doing things. Those are the ones you want to focus on. You're not going to get people there if they don't want to change, if they don't want to move on. They're not going to. They're stuck in concrete, and until they step out of that concrete and say, okay, I need to move on, I can't be this way anymore, then you can help them. But until that point, unfortunately, as much as you would absolutely love to, and trust me, I have tried and tried and tried to help people like that, and none of them have ever been receptive of it, and none of them ever changed. The closest that I ever got was with one person. They got a hold of me years and years and years later, and they admitted that some of the words that I said did help them a little bit, but they weren't going to listen to it. They didn't want to make the change. They didn't want to do anything, so they just absolutely there. But what they admitted is they lost a lot of years off of their life, and they can't go back and get it. And they wish they would have listened to me then and moved on. And I told them the same thing. I lost a lot of years. People would tell me, okay, well, you can't live this way. You need to move on, process whatever you have to do. But most of the time, all they would say is, you just need to move on. Get over yourself. Move on. And I'm going to tell you that right there. All I did as a Taurus, I locked my heels in and said, you know what? I ain't going to. And I just sat there, and to prove a point to people, I couldn't even remember why I was doing this. My heels were dug in, and I wasn't moving. But I don't even remember who it was against now. It's like I have that negativity. I have those grudges. It's like I'm holding all of this, and it's like, why? Why am I doing this? I'm the one that's getting hurt. They're not the ones getting hurt. They're not getting anything out of this. And it's like, oh my goodness, okay, time to move on, buddy. Not everybody likes a negative Nelly. So what I did is I moved on. It took some time, and I finally got there. But like I said, this is not an overnight thing that's going to change. It takes forever to make these changes. But the trick is to continue to move forward. Show forward progress, show effort, make the decisions, and make some changes necessary to try to be better. Another thing that I had to learn, and this one here I am not good at, so I'm telling you, but I am not good at this one yet. I've gotten a lot better. But stop the negative self-talk and trash talking of others. The trash talking I really don't do to anybody else and stuff there. That I just don't get involved in. But the negative self-talk, I am so ungodly hard on myself, and I know it is. And every person that has known me has said that is, you are so hard on yourself. You're way too hard on you. You need to give yourself some credit. You need to give yourself a little bit of a break. I'm so afraid that if I do that then I'm going to slide backwards and just stay negative all the time. So as weird as it is to say, for me, the negative self-talk I have turned into a positive, because what I do is I use that as fuel to keep going. Now, I don't do it as much. I'm probably 75-80% done with it, and I don't see myself ever being 100% not a negative self-talker. But I've learned that all that does is tear you down, and I was basically buying into the person that constantly told me, you are worthless, you're a piece of crap, you're a horrible father, you don't deserve to live, you shouldn't even be breathing. And what I was doing is I was feeding in to that negativity by basically tearing myself down and trash talking myself. It is, like I said, I am not all the way there yet, but I am gaining ground on not doing that anymore. So what I'm trying to do is when I get those negative thoughts in my head, I try to flip it 180. Is like, okay, well, you know what? You're nothing but a big fat cow looking into that mirror. instead of saying that, what I'm trying to get my brain to understand is, no, you have lost 200 pounds. You continue to stick on your weight loss journey. You are eating the foods that you are eating, and you are working the plan. That is what I am trying to get my mind to go with, so that way it's always positive. I'm not perfect at it. Just like I said, I am a work in progress, and I'm figuring this out as we go. But the negative self-talk that I do, it is getting better. And I do have a friend that when I do start doing that, she screams at me. And it's probably a good thing. It irritates me, but it's probably a good thing that she does that, because basically that reboots my router and my Windows service in my brain and says, okay, well, go what? Okay, we need to go back to the way, the new way of doing things. Not the old way. Don't get stuck in the past. Don't get hung up there, but the new way. So it's getting easier for me. I'm not there yet, and I don't know if, like I said, if I'll ever be 100% there yet, but I'm getting there. So I'm happy with the progress that I've made, and that's why I think, I'm able to talk the talk and walk the walk, because I have made the changes necessary to make myself better. And it's hard. It's kind of like, you have this clay that's sitting on this table, and it's nothing but a square. There's there's no definition. There's no lines. There's no curves. It is a square. And that's basically where I started at when I got divorced. It was basically a plain mold sitting in front of me, and I'm sitting there and going, okay, all right, I have a shot to mold a better person than what I have been in the past 35 years. All right, so where am I going to start? How am I going to make this better? And I have been working over the past 19 years to basically mold that clay into a better person, and that's who I am trying to be. And like I said, it's still not where I want it to be. Sure, I'd like to tone up the stomach there and tone up the tuchus and have big, huge arms and all this stuff. But let's be honest, I'm approaching 50. I'm going to be honest, you know what? I'm getting old. Things aren't working quite as well as what they used to. Things hurt more. So I figure if I can just get my weight down to a healthy weight and not worry about looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though I'd love to, because he's an amazing actor and I absolutely love everything that he's ever done. He's absolutely incredible and an inspiration. But I'll be honest, I'm not gonna get there. My joints and everything else are just not going to allow it. So, but if I can get myself to a healthy weight, then I'm hoping what that will do is give me even more, basically, confidence to stop even more negative self-talk. I don't trash talk others. It's extremely rare that I ever do that, because there's no good that ever comes out of that. So, I like I said, I'm harder on myself than anybody else. And the final thing that I learned, basically, and this was also, this one was a little bit easier, but there still was a lot of work to do. The past is the past, folks. Leave it there. Stop dragging up the past. Stop living in the past, because honestly, that does you no good. There's a reason why time calls this the present. You need to live in the present and plan for the future. I know people go through a lot of hurt out there. I know you're working on trying to get through it, or there's just some other thing that's holding you back and you're living in the past, whether it's a broken heart, broken life, broken home, you name it. There's all kinds of things that you can actually get hung up on. But remember, the past is the past. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way too, is because after the divorce, it was kind of like, I enjoyed, the family foundation. I never thought I'd ever get divorced. I really didn't. It broke my heart to get a divorce. I put my son through so much. He's an amazing kid, and he bounced back, and he's incredible today. But the pain that I caused him and everything that I put him through, the changes, the routine changes, and there was so much there. And honestly, I still blame myself for the divorce. Let's be honest. I'm the one that asked for it, but I had lots of good reasons to move forward and just realize that that relationship at that time was toxic, and I couldn't do it anymore because it was affecting my health, it was affecting my son's health and everything there. But after I did that and moved out on my own, I kind of found myself living in the past a little bit, and not always just there, but just being back home, being, like I was home with my parents and things were better, and Things were taken care of. I didn't have to make adult decisions. I didn't have to pay bills. I didn't have to figure out how am I going to put food on the table this week or put gas in my truck so I can get to work to make more money. I mean, there was a point, I'll be honest, when I got divorced and I was going through and trying to figure out how to do all this stuff and how to move on, there were days I had to for the first probably 2 years, I had to plan out where I was going to drive, how much I was going to drive, and how much gas that was, because I had to cut every corner to basically keep what little money I had to put it into the fridge to make sure my son and I didn't starve to death or fix things or if he needed something for school. So there were times, because I had so much PTO racked up, I literally would have to, right before payday, I might have to take the day off before or two, just because I literally did not have the gas to make it to work to make money. So I had to take a day off. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed home. And thank goodness I'm an introvert, so that didn't bother me. But the part that bothered me was I didn't have any money. I mean, I had 3 or 4 cents in the bank account. That's all I had. I couldn't afford to put gas in the truck to go to work to make money so I can put more gas in my truck. That was embarrassing, and I had to learn a lot from it. But one thing is that is the past, and it's there. But what I did is I learned from it. I learned how to budget money better. I learned what it took there. Sometimes I had to work 2-3 jobs to get through. I did what it took to survive. And now that I went through it, it's a part of me. It's who I am. It's part of my character. And I know that after going through all that I can handle pretty much anything. But it's still very simple and very easy to live in the past, because you know what it is. Sometimes you can, when you're sitting there, and I caught myself doing this, hoping for a different outcome, I'd sit back and think, okay, what if I had done this? Or what if I'd done that? And I get lost in dreamland thinking if I would have made a different decision, how would that have unfolded? How would that have been different? But that's dangerous, because I got stuck there, because I didn't want to basically forgive people. I didn't want to move on. I was really irritated because it felt like I threw 17 years of my life away. I tried so hard to make things work. But when all said and done, it was the best thing for me. It was the best thing for my son, was to get a divorce. I'm not proud of it, because when I said I do, I meant it for life, and it broke my heart to say that we were done. But I had to make the decision for a greater good, and that's why I did what I did. So just know, living the past is the past. Leave it there. Don't drag it up. Do what it takes to process it and move forward. It's not easy. It's not fun, but just know that the consequences of living in the past are very dire. There's not really any good. It's good to have the memories. It's good to reminisce once in a while. No arguments there. That's the best part. But don't live in the past. You gotta start moving on. So I hope these are some things that will help you with your positivity, because I have walked through these steps, I have done these things, I am a much more positive person. I'm somebody that people want to be around. I'm somebody that folks talk to. They trust me. I keep their secrets. I put a smile on my face. I try to always have a joke ready to go, because that's what people are drawn to, and that's what they need, because there's not enough of that in this world anymore. So try to be that way. I mean, do what it takes to purge yourself of all that negativity, and you'd be surprised at how much better you would feel, on how much further you would move forward. And remember, it's not an overnight thing. This isn't going to happen overnight. It's like my weight loss journey. I am not going to lose over 300 pounds overnight. It didn't go on overnight. It went on over 3 decades. So it's not going to come off overnight. And yes, it's very, very irritating when you look in the mirror and you think, oh, God, it's still there. But I know I'm making forward progress, and I know I'm doing good. So that's what I use to continue to make myself feel a little bit better, which allows me to be very positive around everybody else. When they have negativity, I can handle their problems. I can help them walk through things. And sometimes just by listening is all that they need. They just need to get that out. They need to talk to somebody. And yeah, sometimes I give advice or whatever. But the most time, it's just a matter of just listening, because that's what people need. So basically, some of the things, there's a few other things. They call it developing personal power, and it requires a commitment to personal growth and self-awareness. So there are a total of 7 things that basically will help you move forward. Once you start integrating these into your day-to-day life, which I have, it makes a monstrous difference. I'm not going to lie. The first one's self-reflection. Personal growth starts with self-awareness, and self-reflection is a powerful tool for gaining insight into your own thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors. It's really incredible to, even if you just write it down in a journal or a diary, whatever it is, it's just a matter of start writing things down of where you're at the time, and then go back and look a month later, but make changes after you write it down and say, okay, I'm going to move on a little bit more and try to start moving forward. And you'd be surprised after a month, if you go back and look at that, how much forward progress you have made. Even if it's just a few steps, it doesn't matter. You made forward progress and you're going the right direction. That's what you have to do. The next thing this is a big one with me, and I do all the time. I set goals, and they're realistic goals. They're not ones that, guess what, I'm going to be 110 pounds, and I'm going to have 35-inch thighs and 40-inch arms, and I'm going to have an IQ of 2,477. All right, well, now that we're all done dreaming, that isn't going to be realistic at all. But what I try to do is I always set realistic goals. Keep my bills paid, make sure I still work out, make sure that I'm eating right, make sure I take care of my puppy. There's all kinds of different ways of setting goals of where you want to get to. One of them could be in the next month, I'm going to stop the self-negative talk by 25%. I'm going to say a few good things about myself. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? It's great to be alive. I am going to do this today to try to help somebody, or, just anything to set goals. And once you start attaining them, as long as they're realistic, it will really help motivate you to continue to be, more positive and work forward. I mean, it's incredible. That's why I set so many goals. Number 3 is learn from failure. They call that the school of hard knocks in my book because I'm old school. But yes, I have learned tons and tons and tons I have learned more from failure than I have ever learned from success. Now, granted, I've had more failures than success, but the trick is I've learned from them and I don't repeat them. And it's huge. I mean, it goes a long ways to making you a better person. And I know that seems kind of weird, but actually you can turn failures into a positive. And that's what I have done with everything that I've lost in my life. I just continue to try to look at better things and do the right things. And it's hard. And like I said, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon that you're doing. You're changing who you are and how you are. I mean, that's a huge thing. So by being more positive, it's going to take a little time, but then it'll start coming naturally. Another one is practice self-care. This is one that I had to start integrating, especially with my weight loss journey. But take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. It is essential that you do this. You have to be very careful. You have to do whatever it takes there to get past the negativity. You have to get past, all the horrible things that have happened in your life. Find a way to turn them into a positive so it will help basically use that as your fuel. That's what I do. That is my fuel to continue to move forward, to continue to help people, to be there for folks, be there for my son, friends, all of that stuff. It's amazing. Once you start taking care of yourself, then you can take care of others. But if you don't take care of yourself, there's no way that you can stretch out and try to help somebody else. It's just too much. It's not going to happen. Positive self-talk, we've already talked about that to some degree. Make sure you're always building yourself up. Don't tear yourself down. It's so simple to tear yourself down. I have to admit that. And like I said, I'm not an expert at that yet, but I am learning how to be better in that role. I'm hoping that maybe by the time that, I'm 70, I might have it figured out. It's a lot of years, but why get in a hurry? But I know that I'm a lot more positive than I used to be. Another thing there basically is take action, move forward, make the decisions necessary to be more positive, to get rid of that negativity, to help people, to donate, to do charities, to work at the local animal shelter, whatever it is. Take action. It's okay to write all these goals down. It's okay to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Nothing is going to change until you want it to, and nothing is going to change until you start doing it. So taking action is a huge, huge one. Figure out goals, figure out where you want to be, set a monthly goal, set a 3-month goal, set a 6-month goal, and then set a year goal. And for me, I am 5 years out on my goals. I know where I want to be in 5 years, so I do everything I can to get myself going in that direction. And at that 1 month mark, look back. Did you make that goal? Be honest with yourself, because you're not going to grow unless you're honest with yourself. If it said, okay, I'm going to lose 200 pounds in a month, and you go back and you've lost 3 pounds, you can't say, yep, I made that goal. Not going to happen, guys. You got to be honest with yourself. And the more honest you are with yourself, the better off you're going to be, the further you're going to be, and you'll be happier with yourself once you start making those goals. The one thing that I do, and I have talked about this, the last thing basically that I have here for developing your personal power, is surround yourself with supportive people. This is huge, because if you have negative people around you, you're going to buy into their business of, okay, we need to tear people down, we need to talk nasty, I don't need to eat right, I need to smoke, I need to drink, whatever it is. Just know that if you're going to surround yourself with negative people, you can't be positive. So the best thing to do is, and this takes time to find these people. It took me years to find these people, and those people are my family, and they help build me up, they protect me, they help me, and I do the same thing back with them. When somebody has a bad day, we're all right there to say, okay, what can we do to help out? By doing that, you're going to go so much further. Your healing is gonna go up exponentially. It's incredible. You're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna be happier with life. You're gonna wish you'd have done it sooner. Trust me. And once I started making sure that I got positive people around me and I got rid of the negative people, the energy vampires, anything that sucked the life out of me, I got rid of those. It's amazing how much better and how much easier life actually is. You can handle challenges when they come along a lot more. You can handle problems when they crop up. You can handle pretty much anything when you get to that point. Yes, there is still going to be times that you're going to probably feel overwhelmed, but for the most part anything that's coming at you, you're going to be able to handle so much easier and so much better. It's not going to feel like, okay, well, guess what? I got to figure out how to, get the tire fixed on my car. Well, before you started all this positivity, that would have been like climbing a mountain. You'd have thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And all the negative stuff kicks in and blah, blah, blah. It's downhill from there. But if you stay positive and start looking at things differently and start building yourself up, you're going to say, well, it's no big deal. I just run over to the gas station real quick. It'll take them 20 minutes to take the tire off, put a patch in it, put it back on, and back on the road. You can handle it. You can process it. You can make it happen. You can take action, just like what I said earlier. So it just depends on how you want to basically conduct your life. How do you want to be known as a negative Nelly, or do you want to be known as somebody positive and somebody loving to be around? That's what I had to determine. That's what I had to answer, and I finally got there. Like I said, took forever, but I got there. So really, when all said and done, the more you believe in yourself, the more powerful you are going to become. It's easier to tackle new problems and issues when they arise. Just know that. So find a way to purge yourself of a lot of that darkness, the negative energy, anything like that that's dragging you down, holding you back, making you live in the past. You need to get rid of all that stuff and move on. It's not easy, and it's going to take a while. Some may not have a lot. You'll be able to purge it real fast. Some of us old people like I am, it took a long time. It took years before I got all of that stuff out of my system. And like I said, I'm a work in progress. I don't have it all out of my system yet. So just know it's going to take time, but just know that self-improvement always does. Set those goals and find a way to meet them. Get out there and help people. Do whatever it takes to make yourself, basically stay on the positive side. If people are starting to get negative, walk away. There's nothing wrong with that. You need to protect your good energy and your good vibes, and you can't do it by staying in a negative environment. And it doesn't matter if it's friends or family or whoever it is, you don't need it in your life. And I know that's a harsh thing to say. And there's so many people that are going to hate me for that one there, because it's like, well, how can you say no to friends and family? Well, guess what? I have, because I have to look out. It's self-preservation. And when I did that, then when they needed help, I was in a good position to go back and help them. And I did. But I couldn't have helped them if I'd have stayed in that negative environment and just kept getting ripped down and felt bad and chastised. It just isn't going to happen. So by that, I pulled away, healed myself. I was able to help them, and I was happy with the person I was, and I was able to move on and be the person I want to be. So just know that you have an incredible incredible power inside of you. Yes, I know it's probably been covered up and locked away and everything else because you're afraid to show it off, but don't change who you are for anybody. Be who you are, because that's who you're meant to be. You're unique. You are you, and only you can be you. I mean, that's an incredible amount of power and amazingness that you have locked up inside you. Let it show. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. So be strong and amazing. Show the world how amazing you are, because that's who we need. That's how we need more people like you and me out there. That's why I'm trying to help. You're my extended family. I'm so proud to call you my extended family. You guys are wonderful. And that's what I'm trying to do, is help build you up and be there for you as much as I possibly can. So just know that, be positive, be great. I know it sounds, some people are going to use the term hippie. You can say whatever you want to say and stuff there. I just know that I'm a very positive person, and that's what I try to do is convey that positivity in this very, very negative world. So don't let anybody change you. Don't let anybody tear you down. You be who you are, because you're perfect the way you are. So all I can say, when all's said and done, is be that person you are meant to be. That's the best way that I can sum up this whole podcast, because that I'm talking about basically this is how I see my podcast. This is how I see Bravery Within. And I'm proud of the podcast. I am proud of all of you. You guys are all talking to me, you're chiming in, you're giving me suggestions. It is wonderful. I have the dad jokes that are starting to roll in. It's incredible, because you guys are working with me. You want to be part of the podcast, and I think that is amazing, and I'm so glad, and I want all of you part of it. So if you have jokes, please email them to me to seangmorris@gmail.com, and just know I love hearing from you guys. So please don't hold back. Like I said, we try to keep everything positive. I know everything can't be, but for the most part, do your very best to be positive. And so when you're given, I can handle constructive criticism. I'm not arguing that point, but flat out negativity and meanness, nope, not going to go down that road, because everything that we do here is to help build each other up and to be there for each other. So keep that in mind. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear new suggestions. Anything you want to talk to me about, please send it over. seangmorris@gmail.com. Get a hold of me on Facebook, whatever. It's completely up to you. I'm happy to talk to all of you at any time. Like I said, we've got Rebecca there for the weight loss surgery. We've got Chris that talked about the exercise. I have another friend, Brian. He is going to be on an upcoming episode here. It's due out about mid-June, and it's going to be about the truckers and stuff there, which is, I'm hoping to be a very exciting podcast. I've told a couple people about it, and they said we never would have thought of that. It's amazing. We can't wait to hear the episode, so I'm hoping you like it. So stay positive. Be the person who you are meant to be, and don't let anybody change you, because you are perfect the way you are. You're unique, and you're absolutely the best person for the job of being you. Just know that. So remember, you got this. I believe in you. I believe all the way that you're going to meet your goals that you want to do. Positive thoughts will help get you through the day. So, being that we're very positive, I got to make you laugh a little bit. So, guess what? We're heading to the dad joke of the day to end the podcast. Here is the joke here. I'm hoping you like it. Get ready to laugh. Do you know why bees have sticky hair? Because they use a honeycomb. I told you it was good. Go ahead and roll your eyes. I know you are. I know you're groaning out there, but go ahead and laugh. That's what it's meant for. So thank you very much for joining my podcast. Remember to share, hit, like, comment, everything you can do, anything to help build up the podcast. I really appreciate it. And as always, all my love and support, Sean.